This has to do with convenience, one of the themes about, I think, publishing in this area. Second, whereas writing only offers the passive products of our human cognition, as I said, the digital computer is an interactive medium, which enables the user to organize the data and information himself. Just as the author of a hypertext novel guides his readers into a narrative space, rather than a linear story, also I think that many non-fiction books of the future will offer a kind of argumentational space, a kind of simulation, rather than a single argument. It's a kind of multidimensional database, and the development of interfaces for this kind of databases, I think, is very important. And because the user can add information to this database, and Amazon.com is already a very interesting kind of experiment within the world of publishing to do this. In such a system, the interface will enable us into a kind of living platonic dialogue rather than a fixed monologue. And this also brings me to the third aspect of connectivity. And it's also mentioned the user content is very important. Personally, I'm quite skeptic about semantic networks because it's so extremely complex to model natural language, so to say, because that's far beyond our possibilities yet. It's much more easy to use computers we already have, the readers. Because all their thoughts, all their associations, when you put them into the database, this is very interesting. And Amazon.com is already working this. It's very fuzzy, but it works a lot better than those strictly defined, formal kind of semantic networks. And, well, there's a lot of buzz still, already 20 years about semantic networks, but we are not making a lot of progress, I think. But perhaps I'm too skeptic. So that's connectivity. And the last... so it's a kind of polylogue rather than a dialogue here, because so many people are involved. If I may add one small side remark, I was thinking about during the other two talks, when we look at the tasks of publishers, I think traditionally they have two main tasks. One is selection, what to publish, and the second one is the production and the distribution of the books. And especially in non-fiction, there is a big problem for publishers now, I think. And I'm working at a university, and it's a daily thing. Nowadays, universities, for example, can easily publish themselves, because on the World Wide Web you can easily have access to a very large community of readers. So we do not use the publishers as we did in the past, so to say, as scientists, as scholars. And the funny thing is, in the field of non-fiction, scientific publications, the selection is already also done by us in many, because we are the peer reviewers. So and especially now, many journals are going also online. University libraries have to pay twice, because they want to have the paper books, the hard copies, and they want to have... So now there is a big movement within universities to say we better can start publishing ourselves, because we already do the selection and we also have the means for distributing now. And I think if publishers want to survive in this specific, and it's only a part of the market, of course, but in this market, I think they have to focus on this interface value, the way to select, not to select which publications, because universities can do them themselves, but the interface between this big body of knowledge. I think there's a lot to gain here for publishers. Well, very short on the last topic, the virtuality of computers. I think computers are virtual machines in two different senses, but they are connected in a way. The multisensory computer models that are being made are virtual in the sense that they are convincing simulations often of physical and cultural processes. They are not real in fact, but they are often real in affect, so to say. That's a famous quote by Michael Heim here. If you go into a flight simulator, you cannot really fly, but you can really become airsick. And so, yeah, that's really. So it's not real in fact, but it's real in effect. And of course, the whole idea of, and that's also in Second Life. You're not really in a second life, but you can fall in love, you can become angry at other, etc. So it's not really in fact, but it's real in effect. And that's one notion of virtual reality. So it's a kind of simulation of reality. In the second place, virtual also has the meaning of a kind of potential. A database is a kind of a body of knowledge, is a collection of elements that can be recombined in many different ways. So there are in one computer game, for example, there are virtually many different paths you can go through. Right? So different paths through the database, so to say. And what is interesting is that nowadays sciences are moving in a way from reality to possibility. They are really interested. When I talk to young molecular biologists nowadays, and we are talking about genes, we are talking in a certain sense about different things, because I'm old-fashioned in many ways. I've grew up in a kind of historical world, and if I think about evolution, I'm thinking about a very long history who started 4 billion years ago and gradually developed. They are talking about the gene pool, about a database which you can recombine in many different respects. And for example, one of the very popular fields at this moment is synthetic biology. And you take biobricks, you can recombine them on your laptop, and then you can print them out in a DNA synthesizer and create your own organisms. That's a very fascinating thing. It's a very fascinating thing. And they are moving in a certain sense from reality to possibility. That's something they share with fiction. Fiction is also imagination about possibilities. But the difference is that these sciences can make these possibilities real, because you can first design an organism and then you can print it out. So. And this is in the very far future, I think, not within a decade or something like that. But I can imagine also the non-fiction book of the future. For example, that you design your own flowers and then you print them out on your personal DNA printer. And you have a very nice flower to put in your garden. So, if this this is not science fiction, this is science fiction. We are already, if you have a laptop, and if you can order biobricks on the internet, and you can buy a second-hand DNA synthesizer in the US at this moment for about $1,000, then you can print your own virus. And this is a very big challenge at this moment also for bioterrorism, etc. It's already possible. And of course we don't have yet the personal printer, but only 20 years ago everybody was saying nobody will have a personal, or 30 years ago, nobody will have a personal computer because there are mainframes. Now, well, DNA synthesizers are mainframe these days, but they will not be, I think, in the future. If this world of science fiction, not science fiction, but science fiction, will also lead to satisfaction is, of course, a big question, but I will not deal with this today.